going to be into your opportunity fund, don't dismiss the importance of the economic development agencies, both statewide and locally. Reason being is because there are an immense amount of investors that live, work, play, and grow their business in their own backyard. And they would much rather invest in their backyard than necessarily taking their investment and putting it 3,000 miles away into something that's not tangible for them. It's also not emotional to them as an investor. And those local investors, those are the ones that the economic agencies, those are the ones that your politicians locally, they know because those investors support those type of initiatives locally. I'd like to kind of expand just a little bit further on, Dana, if you wouldn't mind. Kind of talk a little bit about what St. Louis and what the deal that you've got going on, because we've got a similar one in a similar situation. Talk about what St. Louis did with you.
Mine's better. Can I just, the gentleman over there had his hand up, should have a question first.
It just makes complete sense because what I know from the family offices and the big money out there, hospital and impact funding, and want to impact all of the community more so than areas you're not familiar with. It makes complete sense. Not economic development dollars go to economic aid.
Absolutely.
So I agree with that too. And just real quick before I go into that, we were talking about, we all talk before these panels so that we don't look completely goofy when we get up here, but Sheldon's doing it right. I get packages. I honestly, I see 5 to 10 packages a day. Some of them are opportunity zones, some are not. A lot of them have been recently. And I always get calls and emails from various economic development authorities, and most of them go like this. Are you interested in something in our opportunity zone? Small town in the southeastern United States. I said, sure, what do you have? Tell me about some of the demand drivers, what hotel sites do you have? And I don't know, but I got an opportunity zone, and there's a lot of land in it. And so I'm like, all right, well, thanks for your time. In the meantime, I've got 20 other packages with Economic Development Authority. I was just sharing with these guys that City of Parkersburg, West Virginia, not the biggest jurisdiction in the world, but they put together a great book. They've got a list of the different option funds that are out there. They showed some sort of pseudo master planning that had gone on in there, and I can pick it up and call them and say, hey, this looks great, I'm interested in this. Do you have a local development partner? Maybe I don't want to know some hotels. If I don't want to do it myself, I want to joint venture with someone. If we happen to feel like we're spread a little thin, but there's a lot of good stuff that the economic development authorities, some of them are doing, others could be doing more of, and so I'll talk about St. Louis and what went on there. But we funded a joint venture capacity group that I've done several transactions with in ground up, nothing fancy, ground up Fairfield Inn Suites in downtown St. Louis, on the west side of downtown, serendipitously next to where the new Major League Soccer Stadium was just announced. So it's good to be lucky sometimes. But we looked at this transaction about a year ago. We liked it, but it just wouldn't, quote unquote, pencil. So regs came out, this program came out, we revisited a lot of stuff that we've been looking at, and it fell into an opportunity zone. And so, to me, this is exactly what the program, at least in part, was intended to do. So here's an area that wasn't quite ready for redevelopment, at least as far as the hotel goes, and then where I needed the numbers to be. Now I'm willing to go in because, my opinion, you're going to pick up, call 300 to 400 basis points of IRR. If you do everything right and you hold it 10 years because of the tax benefits on the back end. But the other thing that was done right was through the economic development authorities and the local municipality and people in charge there, that they stepped up. They provided a pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes, a real estate abatement program for a period of time. They provided what's called in that part of the town, that part of the U.S., TDD, CIB incentives, which basically equates to about 2% sales tax that I get to capture. I can take as cash flow, or I can monetize in the form of bonds and pay down my exposure. They green-lighted the entitlement program, and we got building permits in a very short period of time, which is critical, as everybody in this audience probably knows, for this program and development to hit your milestones and what have you. It's critical for me for committing my dollars and making sure my returns are there at the end of the day. So, I'd also encourage people that are in economic development authority positions or what have you that are out there you want to attract money. Again, I get that we all have a responsibility to one another, and there's a lot of social impact and good stuff that can and will come out of this. But at the end of the day, it it was designed for private money to work. It was designed to create a very meaningful, forget all the 5 and 7 year step-ups. Those are just hedges against where cap gains tax may be on your initial dollars. The real benefit is 10 plus years out and getting a 3 or 4 times equity multiple and not being taxed on that. And the reason I'm saying this is that there's got to be some profit in the deal to protect and get tax-free. And so if you're a local municipality, the more that you can do, I don't want to sound selfish, I'm really not trying to be, but the more that you can do, if you want to attract, I get these questions, if you want to attract private equity funds to your jurisdiction, then offer a real estate tax rebate. Actually, one of the best things I think you can do is carry around building permits in your back pocket, like Sheldon is over here, and greenlight the entitlement program, especially for ground up or deep renovations. But, and then I'll also share with you the third thing is, again, we're all seeing a lot of projects, so don't be afraid to call us, text us, remind us that you're out there, and the squeaky wheel gets to grease a little bit. So.
I want to kind of break it down in pretty simple terms. Basically, you had a lot that was there. It was really great info. What we kind of see is when you're marketing your fund and your fund's potential, when it says to an investor that, hey, we partnered with an economic development authority in our locality that we're looking at making the investment into. We've got great partnerships there, and on top of that, in that particular case, and we've also just experienced this with one of the business funds that we just did, but we did a real estate fund and got a sales tax rebate. We just did a business fund called First Harvest in Texas, and they're a vertical farming fund, one of a number of business funds that we've got going on right now. But that particular fund, we were able to call a local economy, municipality, and said, listen, this is going to create 380 jobs in the next 18 to 24 months. And you would have thought that they were going to jump out of the skin. I mean, just wanted to, what can we do? What can we do? So, when you're talking marketing, partnerships are critical. What I want to do is kind of shift that to, how do you market your fund's potential? I think that, I personally think, I want to open this up to Jim and everybody else. Jim, if you had to put one key thing on something for marketing your fund, what would you say that yours is, in your opinion?
It's the same as any other fund. It's manager selection, but it's manager selection on steroids, really, for QOCs. And, I'll tell you why. So I'm talking from a real estate perspective. That doesn't have to be the only investment. I'm raising capital for a real estate fund, but let's all be honest, that asset class, there are some folks out there that are sensitive to the fact that we're 10 years into a bull cycle. And there's a lot of concern that the cycle will change. The treasury curve is pretty flat. 30-day bills to 10-year notes is about a 15-bit difference. And historically, I don't agree with the correlation. Historically, that's indicated maybe a recession is coming down the road. And then, the U.S. economy is in a very different place to where we are in Europe. So I think when you're with a real estate fund, manager selection is incredibly important. Do they have multi-decade experience in the type of asset class that they're managing? I'm a little biased towards diversity, a nationwide fund that can underwrite any asset class. I guess I'm from New York, so I'm a little sensitive to the idiosyncratic risks of investing in a particular region. I haven't worked on a single deal in the New York area yet, and I get really excited seeing the economic prospects in places like Arizona and Nevada. But it's important to tell people that we'll kind of have a sweeping bearish outlook on real estate nationwide, that there's a huge bifurcation of growth stories in this country, and not every place is late cycle. It's hard to convince that to a New Yorker, but the things going on in places like Austin and Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Texas, Florida are incredible. And so looking at it through a New York lens or an Illinois or New Jersey or Connecticut lens, you might miss an opportunity. So the ability of the manager to underwrite nationally across all asset classes in those areas I mentioned is, pretty key.
And I think that's a really great segue, Mike, into what you do with the financial modeling. And if you want to kind of touch on that from marketing your fund.
One other thing that I was going to mention based on kind of what he was saying, if I'm an economic development director in a municipality or a small area, every market has pockets of areas that are opportunity zones. And in many cases, these opportunity zones, these pockets are areas that through the general business cycle and the way the real real estate market works. They kind of do really well, and they almost get there, and then they don't. And then they do really well the next cycle, and then they almost get there, and they don't. They kind of slip back into being kind of not the best areas. This opportunity zone, as you said, we're at the end of a very long bear cycle or bull cycle. This opportunity zone thing might really be the thing that allows you to push those areas of your cities and over the tipping point and really see some improvement in the economic viability of those areas and increase the tax rates. As far as underwriting the deals, you talk about what do you want to communicate when you're marketing. There's a lot of marketing going on here, right? If you're a fund, you're marketing to investors, or private investors. If you're a developer, you're marketing to pooled investment funds or private investors. If you're a municipality, you're marketing to both funds and you're marketing to developers. But I think what you want to really remember is, everybody up here will say, oh, you got to really know what you're doing. This is not an amateur game. Everybody's new to the opportunity zone aspect, but you must know what you're building. You must know the market. You got to have the team assembled to make sure you're in compliance with all these rules that are not even fully finalized. Make sure not only are you competent to be compliant today, but you're competent to be compliant in the future. And I think it's important to be able to convey that. And there's so many deals that float around. Like you say, you get all these deals on your desk and all these things coming through, and then one guy calls and says, hey, I got a neat deal, let me tell you about it, and I want you to fly down to Florida and let me show it to you. But you don't have a package, you don't have a website, you can't articulate what type of benefits there are, not only in the opportunity zone, but what maybe they're offering these other the CDD or the TIF financing or whatever else. You got to be able to very concisely and quickly convey that you're serious, you know what you're doing, that you have assembled a team, and that you're able to execute quickly and provide that in a very concise manner to somebody that it looks like you paid attention to it, it looks like you did a lot of work, so they take you seriously. So that's the one thing that I think, as we work with a bunch of different people, that's the thing that I see sometimes is missing. It comes across as like a single flyer or a quick email or a nice phone call, but when you say, okay, send me a package, let me see what I'm getting into.
When I was 15 years old, I started my first company, it was a car detailing company. I won a few hundred bucks with it.
That's good business. A lot of these are master the obvious comments. I think the biggest thing from my perspective, we've got that before. There's not a good deal is a good deal, and an opportunity zone or creative structure doesn't make a bad deal good. It's again, there's not a lot you're going to do different here than you would presenting a deal to an investor, presenting a deal to a fund manager, me deciding whether or not I'm going to invest with you in your property. It's really not a whole lot different. Again, it's a different bucket of money, and there's a lot of benefits for the community and for the investors in those funds. But otherwise, a good transaction is a good transaction. This will take a transaction that's on the cusp, or maybe otherwise wouldn't have been done within a certain area, and makes it happen and pushes the gentrification further into the neighborhood. But it still doesn't, none of us are going to invest in a bad transaction or roll the dice on a very speculative transaction. That's not the way this program was designed. And at the end of the day, experience matters. And when I was 28 and I thought I knew everything, I might not have told you that, but I can share with you that to the point here, I don't have to have all the lights green in town before I say go or pull the trigger. I don't need a perfect package. But don't come to me if this is your first deal and you want to do a $50 million hotel deal in a regentrifying area and you're not putting any money in and you want complete control and you want me to fund it for you, because it's not going to happen. Now you can bring it with me and say, hey, I'd like to partner up with you. I'd like to take some entitlement fees. I'll defer them. I'll promote you off of them, but you step aside and let us run the project. I will do that. If you're more experienced developer, obviously it's a different story. But so you don't necessarily, especially if you're from a local regional guys, this is a local regional business at the end of the day, you might know that you've got a great site for whatever reason, but you don't have the resources to get it done or the experience to get it done. That's okay, you don't have to have all the answers. I can help you figure out some of those answers. But if your approach is that I have this site or project and I don't have any money to even control it, and yet you want me to invest with you, and as a sizable, it's not, I'm asking the obvious comment from us, right? It's not going to happen, but I would certainly take a look at it and try to figure it out with you with a certain level of control in the project.
Dave, just one thing quickly, if you don't mind. There could be a potential large mismatch between the supply of capital and the availability of viable investments. The Treasury Department estimates there's about $6 trillion in capital gains on the balance sheet of America. And last year in real estate, according to Peer, in a large private equity real estate newsletter, about $120 billion of equity was raised for real estate deals. So it's very important to pick your managers carefully, institutional quality people, and pick your investments very carefully. We can't invest in everything. You can't invest in a portfolio of stocks and bonds in a QOZ zone. You can't buy the 30-day bill and clip 2.4% for 10 years. It's real estate, project finance, which is interesting. We don't talk a lot about indirect investing in private businesses and direct lending. So a lot of people might not find the investment, might not be able to leverage the tax law, and that's fine. You don't want to take a 20% loss on an investment. You just pay the tax to a sponsor developer as opposed to the IRS. But there are great deals and great investments in great regions out there, and that's why we have conferences like this to weed them out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of summarize in here a little bit of marketing your fund's potential. We've got number one, the importance of a proper fund management, right? Number two, the importance of proper partnerships, economic development agencies, third-party entities, anything that's going to help create success, partnership, credibility, transparency. You got to understand that, again, these things have no prior performance history. You personally might, and that's well and dandy, but the entity of the fund itself for investors don't. And if you're putting all of your eggs on you, it's probably not going to be enough. We've talked about the importance of the numbers, knowing, in and out, having them vetted properly. I want to add one more topic of this, and then we're going to open it up to some questions. And I want to kind of talk about really something that we've all heard a lot about over this conference, and that's the exit strategy. And and I think this is the one thing that when we started looking at opportunity funds and setting these things